There are times when life quietly dismantles everything we've built. The job that once made us proud disappears. Relationships fade, dreams collapse, and all that remains is silence. Most people call that failure. But those who've walked through the storm and come out alive call it transformation. This story is about one of them. A man who thought life had destroyed him, but later realized it had actually rebuilt him. Daniel Reed was the kind of man who looked like he had everything figured out. He worked in a tall glass building in New York, wore crisp suits, and moved through each day with precision and confidence. People envied him. They saw the title, the money, the calm voice in meetings. What they didn't see was how tired he was inside, how his success felt heavy, how every victory demanded another sacrifice. His life looked perfect from the outside, but on the inside, it felt like a cage built out of deadlines and pressure. Then, one ordinary morning, the life he had worked for vanished. His company merged with another firm, and his position was suddenly declared unnecessary. After years of dedication, he was thanked politely and escorted out with a cardboard box. In a matter of hours, the identity he had clung to was gone. He told himself it was fine, that he would find another job quickly, but deep down he felt something breaking. Days turned into weeks, and rejection became routine. Every unanswered email felt like a reminder of how small he'd become. The man who once walked confidently through the city now walked with his head down, avoiding eye contact, pretending to be busy when he met old colleagues by chance. Nights were the hardest. He would lie awake replaying every decision, every mistake, wondering if he had wasted his life chasing the wrong thing. One afternoon, while wandering aimlessly through Central Park, he noticed an old man sketching near the lake. His clothes were worn, but there was peace in his posture, a quiet focus that caught Daniel's attention. After watching him for a while, Daniel sat nearby. The old man looked up, smiled gently and said, "You look like someone carrying too much on his shoulders." Daniel hesitated, then sighed. "I lost my job," he said. "I think I lost myself too." The old man studied his sketch for a moment before replying, "Maybe life is giving you back to yourself." Daniel looked confused. "What do you mean?" The man smiled again. "Sometimes, when life takes something away, it's not being cruel. It's creating space for you to become who you really are. When things fall apart, it's not destruction, it's preparation." Then he gathered his sketches, nodded politely, and walked away, leaving Daniel with a sentence that would replay in his mind for weeks. It's creating space for you to become who you really are. At first, Daniel didn't believe it. He wanted his old life back, the structure, the income, the certainty. But slowly, his resistance began to fade. He stopped chasing the next job and started paying attention to the world around him. He began to notice the details he had ignored for years. The quiet beauty of a sunrise, the laughter of strangers, the way the city glowed after rain. There was something comforting about observing life instead of constantly racing through it. He started writing in a notebook, not about business plans or achievements, but about thoughts, fears, and the strange sense of calm that occasionally visited him. One night, he wrote a line that changed everything. "Maybe losing my job isn't the end. Maybe it's the first time life has forced me to stop running." A few weeks later, while cleaning his apartment, he found his old camera, the one he had bought years ago but never used seriously. Out of curiosity, he took it outside and began photographing whatever caught his attention. A child chasing pigeons, an old woman selling flowers, a busker playing violin near the subway entrance. He didn't know why he was doing it, but for the first time in months, he felt alive again. Every morning, he went out to capture moments that others overlooked. His pictures weren't technically perfect, but they felt human, raw, emotional, real. He began sharing them online. People connected with them immediately. One of his photos, showing a construction worker resting silently after a long day, went viral. Comments poured in. Strangers thanked him for capturing something honest. For the first time, Daniel realized he didn't need a corporate title to have value. His worth came from what he created, not from what he owned. A local cafe invited him to display his work. Standing in front of those framed photos, Daniel felt something shift inside him. People weren't looking at him as a failed businessman, they were looking at him as an artist. When a young woman asked how he started photography, he smiled and said, "By losing everything that stopped me from seeing." Soon, he was invited to speak at a small community event about his journey. Nervous but grateful, he shared his story. The fall, the confusion, and the quiet rediscovery of himself. At the end, he said, "I used to think losing my job broke me, but it didn't. It broke the version of me that was never truly alive. Sometimes life has to take away everything fake so we can rebuild something real." The room was silent, and then people clapped, not for success, but for truth. Months passed. Daniel's photography career grew. He began working with charities, capturing the lives of people society often ignored. His lens became a bridge between pain and hope. The same man who once chased status was now chasing meaning, and in that pursuit, he found peace. One day, while preparing for a new exhibition, Daniel received a letter. It was from the art cafe that had given him his first break, inviting him to a National Gallery event. As he read the letter, tears filled his eyes, not from pride, but from gratitude. Everything he thought was a curse had led him here. Losing his job had forced him to meet the version of himself that success had buried. That evening, he went back to the same park bench where he had once met the old man. The lake shimmered under the setting sun, and he wondered where that stranger was now. He wished he could tell him that he finally understood. Life hadn't broken him. It had rebuilt him piece by piece, quietly turning his pain into wisdom. When he looked back, he realized something profound. The hardest chapters of life are never punishment. They are invitations. Invitations to grow, to change, to remember what truly matters. The days that destroy your plans are often the days that set your soul free. It's easy to love life when everything makes sense, but real strength is born when nothing does. Pain teaches you humility. Loss teaches you gratitude, and failure teaches you to begin again, not from where you were, but from who you've become. Every great story begins with a breaking point. It's the moment life strips away everything false and forces you to face what's real. That breaking doesn't mean the end. It's the moment your heart learns how to rebuild with truth. Daniel's story is proof that the worst day of your life can also be the beginning of your best one. So if you're going through something painful right now, if it feels like everything is falling apart, remember this. It's not happening to punish you, it's happening to prepare you. Life isn't taking from you, it's making room for something better, something more aligned with who you truly are. The version of you that will rise from this will be wiser, calmer, and far more powerful than the one that fell. You may not see it yet, but one day you'll look back and understand that the breaking was the blessing. If this story touched your heart, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who needs to hear it today. And if you want more stories that inspire and heal, make sure to subscribe. The next one might just be the story your heart's been waiting for.